really we can't blame anybody because until 25 years ago, we didn't have emotional illness like we have today. Like now, half of Klal Yisrael is on medication. So we didn't know what it was. 40 years ago, 50 years ago, nobody dreamed you're going to have kids on drugs, kids in pain, kids off the derech. All of this stuff didn't exist. Nobody dreamed. If you would have told somebody in 1980 what's coming around the bend, they would think you're out of your mind. What? From kids on drugs? From kids in pain? I always say it's like not even fair because no parents ever even dreamed that this is possible. So nobody even knew under the chuppah to daven. We now have to make a new tefillah. Hashem, please help. Not just we should have banim and banim aiskim b'torah mitzvahs. Please help me. The children should be alive, should be healthy, should be happy, should be emotionally healthy, should be psychiatrically healthy. Please help me. My kids shouldn't go off the derech and be machal Shabbos and eat treif and cut themselves and be in pain and shouldn't do drugs. It's an anayat tefillah we have to have. Yiratzain shouldn't be a drug addict. Because look what's happening in the nicest families, more and more and more and more and more. Every day, kids popping off and just tattoos and cutting. It's crazy what's happening. And none of this existed 50 years ago. I mean, at least it wasn't on the surface, and it was 1 in a million. And now it's like the nicest families in the world. Look what's happening. Like, what happened? I'm sure they're going to find out. It's something. You don't have psychiatric illness and mental problems and anxieties and OCDs and ADDs and ADHDs and bipolar, borderline. How many Jewish kids are diagnosed with borderline personality disorder, BPD, ODD, OCD, that 50 years ago these things didn't exist? What's going on? Maybe it's the milk, right? Maybe it's going to be the meats. Maybe they're spraying something that's causing our brains to be very, very weak. Kids are mamish weak. We're all very weak. People are. A very chashuv Rav in Bar Park told me. He said, half my kehillah is on medication. He says, the other half, I wish they would go on medication. They need it. It's not a joke. How many people are, the number one prescribed medication is Prozac. So something's wrong with our brains. And people didn't understand that 50 years ago or 40 years ago or 30 years ago. And now we have parents who, when we were kids, it didn't exist. And all of a sudden we have kids and neighbors' kids and family kids who are suffering. It's very hard for us to wrap our minds around it. So we say, oh, they're ice schnitzers, they're manipulators, they're just sucking money out of everything. And it's just so hard to understand this. And we have to learn a whole new sugya of chayla nefesh. The Stipler started writing about it 35 years ago with Doc Greenwald. Started writing about chayla nefesh. He brought it back to the forefront. We have to know halachas of chayla nefesh. One of the big paiskim, mamish, one of the big paiskim, is a tremendous amount of halachas svarim. He told me a woman knocked on his door Friday night. I want to kill myself. So he said, oh, he was like startled, you know. And see the lady? She said, I want to kill myself. He's like, oh, he thought like she's going to do it. He didn't know what's going to happen. Like he's like, don't do it. Please don't. He says, what can I do for you? She said, I need to sew. When I sew, I calm down. So he said, of course, you should go home and sew and don't kill yourself. It's new understanding of chayla nefesh. Shmuel Birnbaum writes that when it comes to depression, the nirish amutu l'chal Shabbos, avomisha soivom u'machlazu, you have to see it inside. And we need paiskim to understand this. Do they have a din of chayla sheish b'sakana? Do they have a din of like, and we have to understand it. It's like nobody's fault. But so many of these kids tell me, I wish I had cancer. I'm just as sick as the guy with cancer, just as much chance of dying and just as much pain, and nobody understands me. And everybody understands physical illness. And nobody understands me. Everybody thinks I'm OTD, and I'm at risk, and I'm a problem child, and they don't understand me. And then you have people with like half pain, and so they act half, and everybody's looking at them, this is the way you dress, this is the way you do, this is your... And criticizing, and big Yetzer Hara, it's because of the internet, and everybody's in pain. It's very scary times, very scary, and I think it's getting much worse day by day. So that's what we have to do. We have to realize, first of all, that until we know how to heal anybody, the least we can do for someone in pain, exhibiting symptoms of trauma and pain and pain and pain, is nurture them and pamper them and spoil them until we could figure out how to heal them. Until the Yeshua comes, we have to go ahead and just lift them up and put a smile on their face. Is that too much to ask for? And so many people, they cause so much pain to these kids. And they're causing pain to them because they're trying to help them, but they're not helping them. And then you take away their support system, and then they feel judged, and they feel like they want to die. It's very sad. We have to do more, and we have to learn more about how to nurture the pain in the brain.